Hey fellow foodies, it's Faye from facefood.com. Today I'm sharing this wonderful pizza dough recipe. It will give you a nice, crispy, flavorful pizza that's delicious, it's easy to fold, and it's just wonderful. So it's worth this effort. It's a 3-day process, but trust me, it is very worth it. The first day we're going to make the poolish, and this is called a starter. What this will do is flavor the dough as well as get it started. And what it is some flour, water, and yeast. You want to cover it and leave it out at room temperature overnight. And then the next day we can actually make the dough. So this is day 2 of the process. We have our salt, water, yeast, oil, our ice water, and then the flour and malt powder. Malt powder can be found online, if not at your local store. It helps with the browning of the pizza. Okay, so I'm just going to pour in the yeast into the warm water and give it a stir. Now if it foams up and after 10 minutes you see a lot of bubbles, you know you're good to go. You know your yeast is alive and well. If not, you're going to have to find some new yeast. Okay, so we'll set that aside. And in the meantime, in the bowl of our stand mixer, we have our flour. I'm using a high gluten flour. It needs to be 13 to 14% protein. Okay, so I'm going to just pour in the ice water. And this is on the lowest setting. Wonderful. I didn't even mix it that much, about 10-15 seconds. And then we can pour in the yeast water mixture. And again, we're on the lowest setting. And you'd want to mix it long before adding in the poolish. Before you use this and do this step, you want to put the poolish in the fridge for about 30 minutes and then bring it back to room temperature. So after you add in the poolish, mix it for about 30 seconds on low. And you can see our dough is pretty much formed already. So what I'm going to do is just take the dough hook off and then flip it over. And then reattach the dough hook. Okay, we'll put this on the lowest setting once again. And now we can add in the salt. Now the reason why we add it here instead of earlier is because salt is a natural yeast inhibitor. They don't get along. So this way we don't kill the yeast and we flavor the dough. Okay, so you just want to mix it on low for about 30 seconds. Alright, and at this point what I'm going to do is add in the oil. Just use some good olive oil. And mix it for about 30 seconds. If it's wrapping around the hook like that, yeah, just take it off the hook and redo it. Okay, so you just want to mix that for about a minute or two on kind of a medium-low speed now. And this is just going to be kneading the dough before we actually knead the dough. And it should be wrapping around the dough hook. This is definitely what you want to see. Okay, perfect. So our dough is ready to get turned out onto our table. I'm just gonna turn it out onto an unfloured surface. Okay, now if you have small hands like me, you can, before kneading it, cut it in half and then knead that part. If you just want to knead it as one big thing, you can do that as well. Basically, you just want to knead it. If you've never kneaded something, basically you stretch it and then pull it back. Stretch it, pull it back onto itself. It's a pretty easy process, but you want to knead this for about 2 to 3 minutes or until a smooth ball of dough forms. You can see it's nice and smooth, and we're giving it the finger poke test, which is if it comes back out, you know it's ready. Alright, so this is ready to be moved to our bowl. You can see it's nice and smooth. Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit of olive oil on the top. You can also put a little bit of water, just some drops of water on top. It's up to you. But at this point, I'm going to cover this with our damp towel, and we're gonna place it at room temperature. Just leave it out for about an hour, and after that you can go ahead and wrap it in some plastic wrap and refrigerate it for 24 hours. Okay, so this is it the next day. I'm gonna go ahead and degas it by punching it down. And then I'm going to turn it onto my cutting board. You can just turn it out onto any surface you'd like. Make sure it's not floured, or it's lightly floured if you're going to decide to go that route. But yeah, I'm just going to quarter this. This is because I doubled the recipe. I might have even tripled it. I have a big family. But if you're just doing one version of, or one batch of the recipe, you can just half it. That should be fine. So this part, I'm going to go ahead and form the dough balls. How you do that is you just kind of fold in the edges onto itself and kind of pinch it at the middle. And you just keep doing that until you have a really nice smooth ball of dough. And at the end, you really want to make sure the seal is pinched nice and tight. To me, I love making dough. It's so fun. And yes, it's a 3-day process with this recipe, but I'm telling you, it is really worth it. So you want a nice smooth bowl of dough like that, and then you want to go ahead and move it to your oiled baking sheet. It will stick if you don't oil it. And I set them about 3 inches apart, and I also oil the plastic wrap as well. But we're going to wrap this in some plastic and then refrigerate it for another day. And at that point, the next day, this is how it's going to look like. You'll be able to use it. And you can see from my mom's pizza, it produces a very nice crispy crust, very delicious and flavorful. Trust me on this one, you will not go back to another pizza dough recipe once you try this one. So for the full recipe, go to faysfood.com. Comment below for any comments or questions. Like this video, share it, subscribe to this channel for more great videos on the way. And until next time, guys, you have a wonderful day.